When it comes to annual snowfall amounts, New York State ranks 7th in the nation at an average of 55 inches per year. Some places in New York get hardly any, while some places get a ton. Since winter's coming and states are starting to see their first snowfalls of the season, we thought we'd get out the tape measure and run an analysis on which cities in the Empire State get the most snowfall each year. So join us as we brave the cold outdoors and bring you New York's snowiest cities. Our first stop on our snow show through New York starts in Buffalo, which isn't surprising since it's located so close to Lake Ontario. Each year, Buffalo gets about 99 inches per year of snowfall. Just as recently as 2004, Buffalo got 7 feet within a 4-day period, the third highest number in the city's history. If you live in Buffalo, you're not immune to large amounts of snowfall. It's just a part of living in Buffalo. If you took your snowmobile north from Syracuse, it wouldn't take you too long to get to the next city on our list, Salina. Here, the average snowfall amounts are just slightly higher than Buffalo at 100.9 inches of snow a year. You can always tell someone who's from Salina. They have a huge coat on, big ugly boots, a snowblower, and a Subaru. Straight up I-81 is the small town of Cicero. You know when you get there when you see insanely high street signs around town. Cicero averages about 102 inches of snowfall, which is about 8.5 feet of the wet stuff each year. That's a lot, but nowhere near what the record city gets. If this is how you get the kids ready for school, you might live in Cicero. Where's the 7th snowiest city in New York? The people in Rochester might not be too happy to hear it, but it's you. Each year, Rochester averages about 104 inches of snow. The blizzard of 1966 hit Rochester like a ton of bricks.
It began on January 30th, 1966, but by the time its fury peaked just one day later, it had already claimed the dubious title of the worst of all time. Many forced to abandon their cars wherever they could. The city was shut down, as you couldn't go anywhere except by foot.
If you're old enough to remember that storm, then you're kinda old. People in Rochester will wear snow boots to funerals, so you know they'll wear snow boots at job interviews. If I-81 wasn't closed due to accumulation, eventually if you stayed the course, you'd come to Watertown. Here they get about 105.5 inches each year. The blizzard of 1977 was so bad that it has its own Wikipedia entry. Watertown got 66 inches in that one storm alone. If you live in Watertown, you should probably have all the latest cool toys to remove snow. Stuff like this handy sidewalk scraper, or this jet tank snow melter, or this RoboPlow. Just a little ways outside of Utica is the city of Rome. You can bet that all 33,000 people who live here are just waiting in anticipation for the first 12-incher that's due to come at some point in the next 2 months. Every year, Rome gets about 108 inches of snow, good enough for 5th in the state. To put that into perspective, Mount Pleasant, New York gets the least amount of snow in the state at 11 inches. If you grew up in Rome, odds are you spent lots of time getting stuck in the snow somewhere. In fact, this is what a police chase looks like in Rome. They're never going to catch them. Utica, New York can expect to get a lot of snowfall each year. New York's 10th most popular city crushes it when it comes to the number of hours people spend shoveling each season. While this is life in Miami in the wintertime, this is what it's like in Utica. Yuck. Other signs you're from Utica? People fight over parking spaces on your streets, your dog has trouble going pee all winter, and your Netflix usage spikes during a blizzard. Just east of Buffalo is Lancaster, New York. This town of 40,000 people gets more than 110 inches per year. But hey Lancaster, you can finally say you beat Buffalo in something, so you can brag about that if you want to. Our next stop on our snow show through New York starts in Syracuse, which isn't surprising since it's located so close to Lake Ontario. Each year, Syracuse gets over 123 inches a year in snowfall. Just as recently as 2010, Syracuse got 43 inches within a 3-day period, the third highest number in the city's history. What does a Syracuse resident do when they get a big snowfall? They make it their Facebook profile pic. And which city in New York State gets the most snowfall? That would be Oswego, hands down. This city right along Lake Ontario gets over 125 inches of snow each year. That's 12 feet, folks. In fact, you just might say that the 315 between Watertown, Syracuse, and Rochester is pretty much the blizzard triangle for the entire state. Here's a typical January morning in Oswego, and here's the same afternoon. If you live in Oswego or any of the other snow-covered cities we mentioned, you have it really rough. And if you don't live in any of the cities we mentioned, why not lend a hand and help dig them out once in a while? Because snow is on its way and you never know when the favor will be returned.